Did you know that you've been lied to? Did they tell you that capitalism is great for you? Actually, what's great for you is competition in a free marketplace. And Adam Smith's invisible hand is not the same as capitalism. Adam Smith's invisible hand makes a lot of small companies compete. Nobody gets like big and dominating in the marketplace. Capitalism, on the other hand, it makes resources, it concentrates power and resources on a few hands. So few people get very rich, and then they can get so big that they can actually threaten municipalities and states because they get so powerful. And they do, of course, sink the small businesses. And in the end, they have even implemented this system of new public management that actually control you so that you comply. There are a lot of rules. The way they organize society now is through contracts. And to actually be able to participate at all, you have to have an enormous capacity for administrative work. You have to be a lawyer, or you have to be very skilled in administrative systems and regulation. And so the way they have structured this system is that they say that, okay, we have to sink the professionals, like doctors, researchers, people that have an education and know something and produce actual value in society. They say that, okay, these people need to be controlled because, or else they will steal the taxpayers' money. So instead, they're like, anybody can be a leader. They don't have to have that professional background. So they overpay unqualified leaders that are only skilled in feeding meaningless administrative systems. So these people get a very high salary, whereas the professionals like doctors and researchers and teachers and nurses, etc., they are kind of treated like factory workers in an assembly line. And what also is happening is that since the public sector is very focused on producing things effectively and in large quantities, they tend then to produce a lot of crap, like low quality crap that, you know, you can see it in city development, like the housing they produce, that there are no public parks, for example. That's too expensive in this system. So anything linked to community and the commons, we can't afford with this system. So the system is very short term. It's very focused on cost, and does not see the long-term negative consequences of organizing society in this way. And you can actually see it in the way they build building blocks these days. That it's too dense, and yes. So they kind of focus on large quantities of crap instead of smaller quantities of quality goods and services that would be more sustainable, because it would create less garbage that we have to throw away. The one thing that is a bad thing with this, in the public sector, it's called new public management. In the private sector, we call it capitalism. And it means, like you can see now after the Second World War, documented by Thomas Piketty, that the inequalities are increasing. And that's because the power and the resources are concentrated on fewer and fewer hands. And then we also implement these control systems that control the employees, and then they just, they use an enormous amount of resources to control you. And that is out of a basic understanding of human nature as egoistic, and versus, a system where you could give people more freedom and go for less standardization and control that makes everybody miserable. If you could look at, human beings as creative, social, and wanting to help others, then you wouldn't have needed all this control. And actually, when I have talked to people informally, I'm a researcher. When I ask people what makes you love your profession, like your job, and what people say generally is when they can really actually help people. They see that they have helped people. It's not making people happier when they spend time on bullshit and administrative work that only serves one purpose, which is to uphold this control system and feed the system. So then another problem with this system also is that it individualizes responsibility. So everything is kind of going to the lowest level, like the employees, for example, get overworked and pressured to do things that they, according to the law, shouldn't be doing, like working too much and things like that. And that's just because there's no collective responsibility. Each and everyone is kind of in competition with each other, which kind of makes this everybody. It makes everybody miserable because we're no longer together in this. And we're no longer in this to create solutions that will help other people and ourselves. Like we're only kind of trying to save our own back. So there's too much control and standardization in the way the current control systems are working. And there's less and less independent thinking and creative thinking. And with this control system, there won't be a change towards more innovation, to a more sustainable society. And we can't keep on with it. If we keep just greenwashing the current system, it's not gonna work out. In the end, it's going to crash. So if decision makers were intelligent, they would try to self-reflect and look at the current system the way they work, instead of greenwashing the current systems the way they actually work today. Yes. So it's who can we blame for this? It's of course Thatcher, Tony Blair started this new wave of new public management starting in Norway in the 1980s, and that was of course both the right side and the left side of politics are responsible for this. And it's now that we see the consequences in Norway, at least. So that's a kind of a tragedy. In my opinion, we should use taxes more for community solutions. Like we should go give people a basic income, and then just ask them, just go find some fun things to contribute and do. And then have people do what they like, and then we could all sit around the campfire and help each other out. I think that would make people more happy, and of course the level of consumption would have to drop, but that's also more sustainable. So actually, what's actually the case is that Taylorism came back through the back door. So we're back to kind of control, and like that was Taylorism was the start of automation, and now we're kind of back into that kind of thinking, and it's making people are when you standardize everything and you control everything, there are necessarily more people that will be excluded from society. You kind of push people out, and many people also don't want to participate anymore because it's kind of a rat race. It's people aren't liking their life anymore and their work situation. And now we've created this prison. So it's a system that's not good for our nervous systems. It creates more inequalities. People are alienated, and many people also choose to exit. So what I would say is that we need, for our own good, and to actually prove that, humans can be less short-sighted and more intelligent, we need to think more community-oriented. And I think we actually have to. We can't keep on now introducing KPIs in the health and care services. And then we're at the same time talking about being more sustainable as a system. We've done that since 1987. What happened since then? It's time to open our eyes. Well, that was the rant for today. And I hope you'll all disobey and do your best to sink this system wherever you are, in the private or in the public sector. Because the system won't prevail unless people comply.